Welcome, Commanders. Welcome to another Star Trek Fleet Command video. In today's video, I want to talk about farming ship parts. For you who are lower levels, I would say in the 30s, may not seem as important. But as you get into the 40s, the mid to upper 40s, this is going to become really important because one of the biggest bottlenecks in the game at this point for some of these ships as you tier them up is ship parts. And so it's pretty important to be able to farm the ship parts you need to keep up with your refines. And personally, I feel like as you get up closer to, say, ops, the higher level 40 ops, say like 48, 49, the amount for turn-ins, even for your single turn-in twice daily, is insane. It just takes way too long. And I think this is something Scopely's recognized because they have put out some research or started to put out some research that helps with that. For example, if we go to, let's see here. If we go to our factions, research is where I meant to go. Let's hop into the base. I wish there was a quicker way to do this, but let's go into research. And if we look at the X-Borg research, there is this research right here, enemies of Bajor, and this is just one example. I'll show you another one, but this increases the loot when you're farming Jem'Hadar hostiles for that loop to get the antimatter units that you need to turn in daily. So that's helpful. Let's go over, I believe it's in the Starship tree, and some of you haven't seen this. I ended up getting the Monavine last month. I bought that so I could see it and share some of the video with y'all. But if you look here, Starfleet part salvaging increases the broken Explorer, Battleship, Interceptor, and Survey parts from hostiles. So I've done a couple of those, 3 levels, not too much. I'll probably get back to that. My strategy right now is I'm trying to get the rare and epic loot up because I'm trying to take advantage of those turn-ins for things like mainly the rare cores you need for the Armada Control Center. But that's another discussion for another day. Anyways, so there's some research that's coming into the game that's helping. But I thought I put this video out because I found some strategies that help me when I've been farming hostiles. And this helps me with when I'm hitting hostiles and to be honest, some people are going to maybe mention the video or you're going to watch it and think that's stupid, but I am trying to save as much time as possible. There's so much to do in this game. I'm trying to save time, right? And so with my ships, I'm able to farm these parts quicker with speed crews, and I'll show you the crews that I mainly use for this. And part of my strategy is either using 1 or 2 ships. If I'm using 1 ship, let me show you the level 46 ships, which you'll mostly use for farming this, have special, each of the ships have this ability. But looking at this ship here, the Pylum, the Empire tax, and this goes up the higher tiered your ship is, but it's gaining 70% more resources from hostiles. And my Newton isn't as high of a level, it's at 50%. So I can use these ships to get more loot for each ship. If I'm just farming hostiles with a Pylum, I will use this crew right here. So we've got 5 of 11. And 5 of 11 is going to have some mitigation as captain, so that helps Solo take less damage. But then 5 of 11, as mine is tier 4, also increases the loot drop from hostiles. So I'm just adding to how much I'm able to get from the hostiles. With Strange New Worlds, oops, didn't need to do that. Una, and it'll be based upon the tier, right, of your Una, but increasing impulse speed by 15%. And Curon, for my tier, is increasing speed by 35% once you hit a hostile. So what it does is it makes the Interceptor even that much faster. I also have one thing I wanted to show you here. Oops, it's not officers. For some reason, guys, it's not my day, and I keep going into the wrong place. Okay. So I have Kirk as my fleet commander. And I currently have the Explorer here on the right side, increasing impulse speed. So just looking for any advantage I can get to get this done quicker. Okay, and why do I only use one ship? Under that strategy, I'm only using one because maybe I am using all my other ships for mining and I only want to use one ship. Okay, so in that case, I'm only using that one speed crew. Something I have found of value is that if I take if I take Strange New Worlds Una off of this ship and I put her on to provide synergy with this crew right here, then I can go out and you'll have to change whichever hostile that you're hitting. That's one of the weaknesses of the Strange New Worlds crew. For example, Ortegas, you have some mitigation when you're attacking hostile explorers from a battleship. So I could take these two crews out and hit explorers and be just fine. So I'd replace Hammer with Una in this case. And then you just go out and you can just hit, if you're doing it 2 ships, you just take both ships out to the same system and you just hit the highest level hostiles that you can and farm that way. Once again, this is a time saver. You're going to pay more in repair cost, but at some point you have to evaluate and say to yourself, what's more important to me? Am I trying to mitigate my cost as much as possible and pay as little repair costs as possible? Or do I just want to get a bunch of ship parts and be done? So that's what you have to decide. At some point in this game, when you get high enough tier, you get a lot of resources through events and other mechanics in the game, dailies and whatnot, that really add a lot to your coffers. And there has to be a balance. I get it, because of the costs of doing upgrades for your ships. You need to save up. But you also need to do those turn-ins. And if you can't keep up on those turn-ins, where are you getting the ship parts from? So I would suggest testing these out, see what works for you. You could even use these, say you're doing faction hunt or you're just knocking out some dailies and you want to get it done quicker. I've even used this same crew on the Pylum. I've used this because the tier of my ship is strong enough to go and just hit a bunch of capital traders. So if you're farming for blueprints for your G4 miner, for example, you could just take this and farm like crazy. Pop out here again. For those who don't know, you got these capital systems with these with Sol over in Federation space, Romulus here in Romulan space, and Kronos and Klingon space. They're pretty tough, but they have some decent drops. One of which is the blueprints for those G4 faction miner ships. I've also used that same crew on the Pylum as I've gone over here. And like I said, as you're farming those antimatter units in Dominion space, I've taken it here and with this crew and strong enough of a ship, I can just hit anything. It doesn't matter if it's a battleship, interceptor, or explorer. I can hit anything and just quickly get that 300,000. I think I get somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000 to about 6,000 per hit with that crew. And so I can farm the 300,000, fill my cargo fairly quickly. And I could even put Strange New Worlds La'an below deck to increase my cargo capacity a little bit more to suck up on that. I think my turn-ins are around 80-something thousand, maybe 84,000 per day. And so everything just takes time, but what are you doing to mitigate your time? I hope this video has been helpful today. This is something that I implement just to collect those broken parts that or the antimatter units, whatever it is, for my daily turn-ins, so I can keep up on those refines and keep continuing to get those ship parts that I need to keep advancing my ships. So hope this video is helpful. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks so much.